Welcome to the Mobile Home Friend YouTube channel. I am Charles Odell, and this is your primary resource for everything manufactured housing. Whether you are tackling a full remodel like the one you see here, or just looking for honest advice on repairs and financing, we provide the data and technical deep dives you need to succeed. Our mission is simple: to help you save money and improve your home through first principles logic and transparent cost breakdowns. For the full technical guides and even more resources, visit us at mobilehomefriend.com.
Welcome to another deep dive from Mobile Home Friend. Today, we are looking at the quality of manufactured homes, based on our latest research at mobilehomefriend.com. And you know, this is a topic that comes with a ton of baggage and, frankly, a lot of misconceptions.
So, let's just get right to it. This is the core question, isn't it? It's probably one of the biggest and most persistent myths in all of real estate, this idea that a home built in a factory is just automatically inferior. But to understand why that myth is so powerful, and why it's also pretty much outdated, we've actually got to take a little trip back in time.
Exactly. Because the reputation that today's manufactured homes have, well, it wasn't built today. It was forged decades and decades ago in a completely different world of construction, with totally different standards. And that's the key, right? What people picture in their heads is often not what actually exists anymore.
Okay, so this whole perception problem really kicked off with what people used to call trailers. From the 30s all the way through the 70s, these homes, which later got the name mobile homes, were often built with much lighter materials. We're talking things like 2x2 studs and really thin paneling. See, they were designed more for mobility than for permanence, and that right there is the seed of the quality myth. They were regulated more like vehicles than actual homes, and that's a huge, huge distinction.
But then we get to 1976. And look, if you remember just one thing from this whole explainer, please make it this date. This year represents a hard line in the sand, a really clear before and after for the entire industry's whole approach to quality and safety. Everything, and I mean everything, changed this year.
So, what was the big deal about 76? Well, it was the HUD Code. Officially, it's called the National Manufactured Housing Construction and Safety Standards Act. Before this, the standards are kind of all over the place. But after 1976, every single manufactured home had to meet a really stringent, federally regulated building standard. It was a total game changer. It took oversight away from motor vehicle departments and put it right where it belonged, in the hands of housing experts.
And this HUD code is incredibly comprehensive. Seriously, it's not just a friendly suggestion. It's a non-negotiable set of rules that covers everything. We're talking strength, durability, wind zone safety, fire resistance, energy efficiency, the works. It's a top-to-bottom standard for safety and construction, ensuring a baseline level of quality that, frankly, just didn't exist before.
Okay, so with these tough federal standards locked in, how did today's manufactured homes really compare to a traditional site-built home? Well, the standards themselves are now comparable, but the building process, that's where things get fundamentally different. And honestly, it's where some really key advantages start to show up.
The core difference really boils down to this. A manufactured home is built inside a factory, on a permanent steel chassis, and it follows one single national code, the HUD Code. A site-built home, on the other hand, is built piece by piece out in the open on its final lot, and it has to conform to this whole patchwork of different local and state codes, which can vary wildly depending on where you are.
And that factory environment, it creates some pretty incredible efficiencies. I mean, think about it. There are no rain delays. Your building materials are protected from the weather, not to mention from theft. You have inspectors literally supervising every single stage of construction as it happens. Plus, the manufacturers are buying all their materials in bulk, which leads to cost savings that get passed right on to you, the buyer. That's a huge part of the whole value proposition.
Okay, this brings us right to the heart of the matter. The question isn't really whether one type of home is better. The real quality equation is all about the investment and the choices that are made during construction. And that's true whether that construction happens in a factory or on a plot of land. Your choices are what dictate the final quality.
I mean, we've all heard this phrase a million times, right? And it applies to literally everything. Cars, furniture, and, you guessed it, houses. It is the absolute key to understanding this entire quality debate, and it just cuts through so much of the noise and confusion.
As we noted on the Mobile Home Friend website, a great way to think about this is what we call the sofa analogy. When they're brand new on the showroom floor, a $400 sofa and a $2,500 sofa might look pretty similar. But it's what's underneath, the quality of the frame, the springs, the fabric, that's what determines how well it's going to hold up over the years. That initial appearance is really only skin deep.
And it is the exact same thing for houses. Both manufactured homes and site-built homes can be built to meet just the minimum code. They might use more staples than nails, basic fixtures, standard windows. Or they can be highly upgraded with things like energy-efficient windows, premium siding, and high-end finishes that go way beyond the minimum requirements. At the end of the day, you get to choose your level of quality.
So, here is the source of that perception gap we talked about. People who choose manufactured homes are very often prioritizing affordability, right? So they might opt for a home that's built to the minimum but still very safe HUD standard. And then that home gets unfairly compared to a custom site-built home that has tens of thousands of dollars in upgrades. It creates a completely false story about quality because it's a total apples to oranges comparison.
All right, let's bring this all together. What is the final verdict on quality, and what other factors really play into the long-term value of a home? Because, the structure itself is really only part of the story.
So, is the quality lower? Before 1976, yeah, you could absolutely make that argument. But after 1976, the answer is a clear no. At the minimum code level, the build quality is comparable to a basic site-built home. The real difference in how long a home lasts comes down to two things: the upgrades you choose and, this is crucial, how well you maintain it. That's also where the financial factors come in. A manufactured home's value is often tied less to the structure itself and more to whether you own the land it sits on. A huge factor in long-term appreciation is owning that land, and proper maintenance is everything. For a really detailed guide on roof upkeep, which is absolutely critical, we have a full post on the Mobile Home Friend website for you to check out.
Ultimately, the quality is there. The standards are enforced. So the real question becomes, is it time for all of us to look past these outdated stereotypes and focus on what truly makes a quality home? And that's sound construction, smart choices, and proper care over time. Thanks for watching. For more guides and the full article on this topic, head over to mobilehomefriend.com. And don't forget to check the links in the description below.
Thanks for watching. For more technical guides on this topic, click the link to see the in-depth article over at mobilehomefriend.com. There are many more informational dives into manufactured home topics to investigate and keep your project moving forward.